A distinguished Democratic House member, Peter Welch of Vermont, old friend of the show. Mr. Welch, Peter, how are you?
Good.
What I gather is you don't really buy this drilling and pipeline scenario. You're blaming the whole increase in gasoline prices on speculators? Tell me it's not true. Tell me you don't really hold that view.
Well, there's long-term factors, obviously, that your guest just talked about. But, you know, the short-term speculation is a factor, and the futures market has become 80% speculators and 20% end users, and they really do exploit the short-term situation around anxiety right now. Goldman Sachs did a study, 23 bucks on a $100 barrel of oil, speculation. St. Louis Fed had it about 15%. So that is a factor. That can be like 15 bucks when you fill up your pickup.
15 cents is 15% is about right. Look, we have very efficient commodity and financial markets. They've done, you know, we've had trials, the Federal Trade Commission, they never find anything wrong. But Peter, let me ask you this. Suppose these evil speculators sold oil and sold gasoline futures and lowered the price because America is drilling more and pipelining more. In other words, in the markets, Peter, what goes up can come down.
It's true, but the way the futures market has been inverted, so it's gone from 80% end users like the airlines and the fuel dealers to 80% speculators. And in the short term, when there's upheaval, like in Iran and anxiety about that, they've been able to leverage that to their advantage. The reverse could happen, but bottom line, I'm saying that have the futures market through the CFTC bring it back to its original purpose for the end users, price stability.
Yeah, but this helps add liquidity to these markets. Look, go back to 2008. President Bush finally, after much prodding and urging, finally lifted the ban on offshore drilling. Do you know what happened? Those evil speculators, they saw the supplies coming even though it was 6, 7, 8 years out on the futures curve. They sold. The price of oil collapsed. In other words, as any stock market investor will tell you, what goes up can come down. Speculator's not an evil word. It's just the market trading.
I'm not using speculator as a four-letter word. I'm saying the futures market has to be about price stability, and there has to be some protection for the consumer. You know, when the president was with Prime Minister Cameron, and they talked about making a release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, the speculators did just exactly what you said. They brought the price down right away. So that's a tool that the government could use to be on the side of small business and consumer to give them a break at the
Well,
pump.
think how much better and efficient that would be. Those same so-called speculators that I like to call investors, if they saw the president really going after drilling on federal lands, offshore, Alaska, the Arctic. Do you know what? Even though those projects might take 10 years, they would sell, Peter, and you'd love it, and I'd bring you back on the show and said, aren't you happy? Because the traders, the investors, on the hopes of greater supply, just took down the price, just took it down, and it arbitrages out towards the close end.
Larry, with all due respect, you're kind of underestimating how much more production we have had. I mean, we've got 4 times more rigs drilling than in the rest of the world. It's unbelievable how much there has been drilling, even if it's not all on federal lands.
None of it's on federal lands.
It's up. That's really true. Also, where the drilling is not occurring is oftentimes for the natural gas because the price is down. So you can't get drilling even though we have this huge abundance of natural gas.
Peter, if you unleashed all this stuff, the latest estimate is 1.4 trillion barrels of oil alone. That's not even natural gas. Just 1.4 trillion barrels alone. You unleash that. That includes federal lands as well as private lands. You would see oil prices come down or at least stabilize as the market and those dreaded investors of yours give us a much more, all they want to see is more supplies and more pipeline distribution. It would certainly, we would become the new Middle East.
And that's part of the all-of-the-above approach. I mean, supply does affect the price. No dispute there. But you also need a comprehensive energy strategy. T. Boone Pickens is saying, hey, why don't we use natural gas to power our vehicle fleets?
I'm all for it.
And we should be doing that.
I'm all for it. I love it.
And we should be doing to alternative energy and clean energy.
I know, I just don't want the government to subsidize it and pick winners and losers, but you knew I was going to say that, Peter.
Well, I did, but they are subsidizing the oil companies still. So
no, they're not. No, they're not. Depreciation schedules for manufacturing, that's not a subsidy. But you know what? I get rid of all that stuff if you give me a 20% corporate tax rate, Peter Welch.
Well, I don't know that I can get you 20, but I'd be bringing it down if we could simplify and get rid of all the deductions and loopholes. I agree with that.
There's something we can agree on. Peter Welch, you're very kind to come on the program tonight.
Thank you.
It's great to see you.